something ridiculous, like 70%. Like anyone that's playing at a Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3 academy, that is the best of the best talent in the whole country. And 70% of them, by the time of 21, are nowhere near professional football. Not playing it, giving up, and it's...
I'll tell you what, has anyone seen the Heung Min Son documentary on Amazon yet?
Not yet, mate, but
if you get a chance, honestly, it is such an eye-opener as to what it takes in other countries to become anywhere near a player. For someone like you, Pre, and anybody who's got any sort of aspirations, please, please, please watch it, because Heung Min Son's dad is literally his right-hand man. Son is not allowed a girlfriend. He lives in his house with his family. From 4 years old, it's a little bit extreme.
Is it Indian or Korean, mate?
Well, he was from 4 years old. He was doing kick-ups, and he wasn't doing any intense training because his dad didn't want to hurt his knees. His dad was sort of a lower league player, but he knew he wanted his son to become a top class player. And to do this, he was taking Sonny out onto the training pitch and making him do laps of the pitch doing kick-ups every single day for 2 hours, kick-ups, going around the pitch. He would do a figure of eight and make him dribble around the figure of eight non-stop, like for hours on end.
Mate, the figure of eight is the magic number and the magic training technique.
Yeah.
Our coach, our OC coach, Luis Rodriguez, who's a pro licensed coach, manage anywhere in the world. He used to be at West Ham's academy, still to this day. Travels out to Lukaku, travels out to Yannick Bolasie, wherever they're playing, to go and coach them. He's up in Liverpool every week at the moment with Yannick before he gets his move this window. I don't know if he's moved or not.
He's already gone. He's at Borough now. He's gone to Borough.
Okay, yeah. So that's why he said to me he was at Borough last week. There we go. But previously when he was in Portugal last season at Sporting, before that he was at Anderlecht. But Lewis goes out, travels and trains these guys, and he talks about the training or in the figure of eight mythology, and we'll get him on here one day. He'd love to talk. He'll be a great guest. But while you're saying all this, Glenn, I haven't seen it, mate, but I know that Son, until he joined Pochettino at Tottenham, he used to, even when he was a pro at Hamburg and where was he, Bayern Leverkusen, he used to go training with his teammates. Once he was done there, like his club training, his dad would take him to the park afterwards.
He still does. He still does that to this day.
Oh wow!
And he had there was a section on the documentary, and he had Thierry Henry with him. And like they've become sort of bosom buddies then, those two, because they're, similar type explosive players with Henry, I would still say is above sort of what Son's achieved as we speak, but Son's well on his way and he's just non-stop improving. But he goes, after training with his father, he does kick-ups still to warm up for about an hour, and then he'll go and do target practice just to get the feeling of the ball, just to get that element of sort of non-stop technique. And you can see it in his play. But that does go to show that you have a look at a lot of the other players that you see and that don't do that sort of training. There is still room to improve, even if you are that sort of mid-level player, if you put the work in. And I would expect Ronaldo's of a similar ilk.
Well, that's it, isn't it, Glenn? Julian? Yeah, that's it, isn't it? There's a level and next level. If you're willing to put that extra effort in, it's going to take the game to that next level. But most are just comfortable at the moment, go in, do what they're told to do. On FIFA, Call of Duty, and got that life, But I say, like Son, you can tell he's putting that extra work in.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing now. I can well imagine. People of the ilk of me, Craig and Turk, I don't think we would have been easily swayed to put our dedication into the training day in, day out without any element of eyes going other places. But I can't talk for you, Prey, but I've had a drink with Turk and Craig before. So.
Yeah, no. We've never had a drink together, mate. That night in District never happened.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Fair enough.
I think, from my point of view, I'm a West Ham fan. Yes, I am, but I love football, and I watch certain players. I don't make a habit of celebrating Son as a player, but at the same time, I think he's your best player. I think Spurs' best player.
I think so.
When he's playing and he's on form, he's the one player that you look at and you think, if they get the ball out to him, he's going to cause trouble. And he did it even against Liverpool on Thursday night. That goal in the first 5 minutes came the same way as he scores most of his goals. He scored the same against us last year. He scored the same against this year. It's that ball over the top, one-on-one, and all of that training that you just discussed comes into play. He's right-footed, he's left-footed. I think he's a bigger player for Spurs than Harry Kane. I think he's more missed than Harry Kane if he was out. I think he gives you something that not many players have in the Premier League. Thierry Henry is a very good comparison, and going back over the years, and you look at some of the players, the Hazards and people like that, he's up there with them. One-on-one, I won't fancy any defender against him. I think he's that good. I think he needs to move on if he wants to win stuff, but that's another conversation.